Now we're going to simplify complex numbers. When we're simplifying, we have to think of adding like terms. So when we're adding complex numbers, we're adding the real numbers. And just in case you forgot, the form for standard form, what we have is our real numbers and we have our imaginary numbers. And that makes a complex number, a real and an imaginary. So when we're adding like terms, we add the real numbers, giving us 7. And then what we do is we add the imaginary numbers, which gives us 5i. So if we're looking at letter B, we're going to distribute the negative to each of the terms. And we get 2 plus I minus 9 plus 3i. We're going to add the real numbers. So we get negative 7. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the imaginary numbers, which would give us 4i. With letter C, we do the same thing. We're going to distribute the negative 2 to each of our terms. So we have 1 plus 2i minus 8 plus 20i. We're going to add the like terms. So that gives us negative 7. And we have 22i. Now that's adding and subtracting. Now we're going to look at multiplying. With multiplying, what we have to do is we have to use FOIL, where we multiply the first terms, and that gives us 22. We multiply our outside terms, which gives us 16i. We multiply the inside terms, 11i, and our last terms, which gives us 8i squared. Now, we remember from last time that I squared is negative 1. So if this right here is negative 1 and we multiply it by 8, that gives us negative 8. So now when we're adding our like terms, we have 22 and negative 8, which gives us 14. And we have 16i and 11i, which gives us 27i. Looking at letter E, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply the 9i times the 3 to get 27i. 9i times the negative 4i gives us negative 36i. 7 times 3 is 21. And 7 times 4i is negative 28i. And that was 36i squared. So now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify it. Remember, 9i times 4i is negative 36i squared. I squared being negative 1. Negative and negative is a positive, so this is really positive 36. So when we add our like terms, that gives us 57 for our real numbers. And then when we're looking at our imaginary numbers, that would give us negative 1i or negative I. Now, if we see a binomial squared means that we're multiplying a binomial times a binomial. We're not just distributing the two. And we're going to FOIL it. That gives us 36. 6 times 5 gives us negative 30i. Negative 5i times 6 is negative 30i. And negative 5i times negative 5i is positive 25i squared. We're going to be adding the like terms again. Remember, I squared is negative 1, so this is really negative 25. 36 plus negative 25 gives us 11. Negative 30i minus 30i gives us negative 60i. Let's look at a few more. For letter G, we're going to distribute the 3 to each of the terms. 9 minus 14 times 3 gives us 12, 3, 4, 42. So negative 42i. We distribute the negative to each of the terms. Negative 15 minus 2i. We're going to add our like terms. 9 and negative 15 gives us negative 6. We have negative 42i. Negative 2i gives us negative 44i. For letter H, these are two binomials that we're multiplying, so we have to FOIL it. 4 times 2 gives us 8. 4 times 5i gives us 20i. Negative 3i times 2 is negative 6i. And negative 3i times 5 is negative 15i squared. Once again, we remember that I squared is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 15 gives us a positive 15. So when we're adding the like terms, we have 8 plus 15, which gives us 23. Then we add our i's. 20i minus 6i gives us 14i. For letter I, we have a binomial squared, so we have to remember to write it twice. 12 times 12 is 144. 12 times I is 12i. I times 12 is 12i. And I times I is I squared. Once again, I squared is negative 1. So what we have is 144 minus 1, which is 143. We have 12i plus 12i, which is 24i.